My talk today is about feedback loops in DevSecOps. So I will be very similarly talk about the process and what are the challenges, but I will try to propose some solutions for one of the challenges that Gary presented, or maybe even more than one. But the talk will be very connected to the previous one, so that's perfect. Thank you, organizers, also for putting them together. So at the beginning, because it's 20 years of OWASP, I just want to welcome you with this small terminal that I will be presenting my demo. Everyone sees, everyone is there. I don't like the presentation online because I don't see people. I cannot talk to you guys, but I hope it will be good and you will enjoy it. Of course, this is not the real demo yet. Let me go to the presentation first. So as it was presented, I'm Daniel. I'm working currently in Equinix as a senior manager product security. I'm running the team in Poland. And Poland, everyone is asking if the background is the real picture. Yeah, this is Poland. This is how the forest in Poland can look like. But unfortunately, not this time of the year. It was a couple months back. Now we are coming to the more gray area and more gray part of the year, unfortunately. So I'm the leader of OWASP Poland, and I'm also a programmer. I was a programmer for many years. Then I switched to security. I do like presenting. I do like doing the trainings and playing with people with security and so on. But as you can also see, I like dogs, and this Weimaraner on the screen is my dog, which I love, and which is a perfect companion for the life. If you look for the dog, I really recommend. So, what we'll be talking today about DevOps, DevSecOps, cooperating with developers, doing security during the development process, and trying to solve the issues that I'm seeing in the market. So everyone is saying that we have DevOps, we have DevSecOps, we have something else, we have security, automation, deployment automation, CI/CD. Really, like if you talk to the companies, everyone is very mature and everyone is doing something. But then you come and you see, or even you are the part of the team and you are trying to extend it, and it seems like our current tools are not working yet. Or yeah, we have a lot of tools, as Gary said, but we have a lot of mess also, or a lot of noise from those tools, right? So there are some challenges in the DevSecOps and there are some challenges in DevOps. DevOps, it's not something that you can introduce by providing a new tool. And I do not have this, sorry, Marcin, if you are there, but I do not have this slide. Maybe I should, but there is a very popular slide like tools, people, and processes, right? So this is really in security very important. And if you have only tools and people, but you don't have process, then it doesn't work. And you have only process and tools, but you don't have people, it doesn't work, and so on and so on. So the tools are not everything, and I think you should have enough tools to do the job, but not more than you need, right? That's probably the issue here. So let me start with the CI/CD, so everyone can understand what we are talking today about. So CI/CD is a continuous integration and continuous deployment. So you have a code, and actually at Equinix and in the normal life, I'm trying to automate as many things as possible, right? So our approach is to have everything as a code, or at least what can be as a code that it's as a code. So the pipeline as a code, deployment as a code, security as a code. In a way, I will talk about it also later. So the code is the beginning of everything, and you have some repository. It can be GitLab, GitHub, SVN, whatever you have, right? Commits. Then you have continuous integration pipeline and continuous deployment pipeline. In my demo later on, the CI and CD I built and build and deployment will be one step, but that's not proper. It's just simple app that I will show you. So that's what I prepared just quickly. But normally it should be two different steps. And why? Mostly because the deployment part is needing a lot of credentials or a lot of accesses, and the building part does not need it, right? So you should probably separate those two. And there are different security tests that can be done in those steps. But let me go through the dev process first. So very popular DevOps. DevOps, as I said, it's not a process, it's a culture. You need to think like a DevOps. You need to try to work like a DevOps, but not DevOps team. It should be developers, it should be security, it should be ops team. Everyone should think how to work as a DevOps, not like, we have a DevOps team, so we have DevOps in the company. That's probably the most critical part to understand and to have this mindset. So, but even if you don't have DevOps, or we don't have DevOps, or even if you don't know what is DevOps, the dev process looks very similar in many cases. So there is some planning done, there is an implementation, building process, testing process, right? So this is like you have a feature idea, which you plan, you groom, you implement, so the development is done, then you build and you test. You have probably QAs, maybe automation tests, whatever else. Then you release, deploy, operate, and monitor, right? So the deployment is critical. You can deploy it to production, you can deploy it to different environments, and you need to monitor what is it doing. Then you do again the same, right? It can be every week, every 2 weeks, every 1 month, every half a year, depending on your agility or the process in the company. So is the security really needed there? DevOps as a mindset and as a not a process, but the culture has security already built in, right? So do we need really security in the development process? Yes, we do. And what kind of security we need, or what kind of security we can put there? Everyone, if you see security field for last, I don't know, 5-10 years, everyone started to talk about shifting left. Then everyone talked about shifting left. Now it's not even shifting left, these are DevOps. And what does it mean? That means that you can put some of the tests on the dev side, and you can put some of the tests in your CI/CD pipeline, so in your building process and deployment process, and it will help you to get security feedback or security findings at an early stages or earlier stages. So you can do a SAST, which is static application security testing, and it can contain many types of testing actually, because SAST is not just a code analysis, it's a secret scanning, it's software composition analysis. So all the dependencies that you are having, let's assume you're using NPM, right? You download one package and NPM downloads 10,000 packages for you, you don't even know it. Some of them can be vulnerable, some of them can be not supported anymore, some of them can be old, and you need to live with that. You even don't know about it if you don't scan it or you don't test it. So that's what SCA is. Then secure code analysis, which is main part of SAST. What SAST can help you with? Can help you find very low-hanging fruits or very easy code bugs like SQL injection, like some misconfigurations. If you scan your YAML files, you can see also the deployments problem in SAST. So there are many different occasions that SAST can help you. Then most of the applications right now are using microservices, or at least are built in Docker or some other containers. So they are containerized. And this is another layer of vulnerabilities that you can introduce to your application. So container vulnerability assessment is a kind of important right now in the process. Then if you have the application, it's already running, you can do a dynamic application security testing, which can again give you a low-hanging fruit or even some more comprehensive issues, as I don't know, path traversals or some cache deceptions, or just simple issues like a cookie without secure flag, which is very popular in all the findings that you got from the vendors when you have penetration testing from other companies, right? And to not stop on the testing, you should also have some more static or even dynamic testing when you have the application. So you can do infrastructure testing, you can do compliance testing. What does it mean, compliance testing? Let's say you are using AWS and you can test from different tools, open source and not open source. How does your configuration of AWS or any other environment compares to the different compliance like ISO, like sys hardening, like whatever it is. Like, so this can be done without you doing that every week. It can be done in the pipeline. Every time someone deploys the application, you get the report, and that's automated. But there is a noise, right? Because you got the report and someone needs to analyze it. So what else? And by the way, if you want to know some SaaS tools, DAS tools, or something like that, there are a lot of good materials in OWASP. You go to free open source application security tools, and there will be a link to the SaaS applications. Those are not only open source, some of them are commercial, some of them are open source. So there are a list in OWASP that you can use. I really recommend. OWASP has a lot of good materials for you guys. Those are the examples that I have taken from Sounds. There is a Sounds poster about the application security. So you see that even from those examples, there are like, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 of different tools that you can use in your pipeline and in your environment to get data about your current security posture. So there was something like OWASP DevSecOps project. And this is a simple pipe that shows you what can be done in a different stages of the development. So SAST, DAST, infra scanning, compliance check. But let me put that into the DevOps process. So we'll go one by one and see where which component can be used. So you have a planning. During the planning, you can meet with the team and you can do a threat modeling. Threat modeling will be not automated probably, at least right now, without any artificial intelligence that I don't know. You cannot do a good threat modeling without people, right? So people will be meeting, seeing the architecture, talking about it, and maybe you can spot on some vulnerabilities that can be even found and fixed before the development is started. Then developers are trying to do the best and their job to get everything working as fast as possible and as soon as possible deploy the code. So they are using different techniques and different languages to get the things done. And first, the obvious thing is that they need some secrets to access the database. They need some secrets to access the environment. They need some secrets to access the to authorize versus different APIs. So they are putting secrets into the code because it's easier, it's faster. So we need to scan for the secrets. And on the other side, from security perspective, you should help the team. So you don't need only to scan the secrets, but you should propose something like a vault or some other secure storage for secrets, for credentials, so they can use. There are plenty of them, open source, not open source. Again, you can see on OWASP, or you can just look for the secret storage solution in the Google and it will be there. Then, as I said, you can scan the code and you can check the open source dependencies, which is very important. After you do the development, you build the application. Every time you build the application, you have the new Dockers or any other container image. So you need to scan it because you can put some vulnerabilities into this container even without having those vulnerabilities into the application itself, right? Because your container has an OS, has some dependencies by itself, and if you don't patch it, if you don't update it, it can introduce a lot of different vulnerabilities to your application. Then you deploy the application, so you can do dynamic application scan, infrastructure scan. you can do a penetration test, and this is very important part of the process because you cannot automate it. Whenever someone is telling you that penetration tests can be automated, you can skip that and you can go further because that's not the case. It cannot be done. You need manual penetration tests to see how the application behaves in the edge cases. You need someone with very good understanding of the application to go through and try to hug it in the malicious way. Then you can do compliance check, as I said, and continuous monitoring is a crucial part of the operation side. And as a DevSecOps manifesto says, you should go into the security as a code, right? So you should go into the way that you have all the security tools managed by code. And why? I will show you a small demo of Django NV, which is the vulnerable Python application, and I will be using GitHub Actions as my CI and CD. This can be Jenkins. This can be, I don't know, some other things like GitLab pipelines or whatever is it called. So you can use different tools. Just to check that I'm not doing that I'm not cheating. There is nothing running on the 8000 port here, and so my pipeline. I hope you see it even if it's dark. My pipeline is right in GitHub Actions, which consists of secret check, code check, dependency check, which is SAST. Then I build and deploy the application, and I do dynamic application security testing using OWASP ZAP. I really recommend to do this part of the security testing because many people just using Dust as a last step in the pipeline, just oh, I run my code, can you do a Dust for me? So some person needs to go to the tool, run the tool, analyze the results, and go back. This is very important, and I really recommend to have this Dust as a full Dust dynamic application security testing, which will take like 40-50 minutes, and that's pretty cool to have it. You can do it before every release or before every deployment, and that's enough. But for simple testing, you can use ZAP baseline, which takes about 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on the application. So you should have some rules. For me, the rule is if the tool is taking more than 10 or 15 minutes, you don't use it in the pipeline because it's not a pipeline anymore. You need to wait like 1 hour for the results, which is not good. Okay. So this is the pipeline. As you see, everything is a code, and those rules for those tools. Actually, I'm using Trufflehawk for secret, Quay for code check, and the safety for dependency check in Python. There are different open source tools that you can use. All of those tools have some configurations that you can do in the code as well. So you will see how many rules are run and what are the rules. So let me run it. I will use a simple application called Act, which is a GitHub Actions for localhost. It will not run in the GitHub, it will run locally, which is just faster and easier. So let me do a full pipeline. You see that now that SAST is running, right? And we have a lot of issues. Of course, you will have the report after all. But there are a lot of different findings in this application, which are also false positives, as you see. But I will go to that later on. So this is SAST. Then we see the up threat, which is the code analysis. It was using Bandit. There is a Bandit report, and there is safety with all the dependencies here. Then there was build and deploy, and the application is running, hopefully. Yes, the application is running. So while the application is running, we could do a Dust, and the Dust was done. There is some report in their in this directory probably. Let me see, report JSON or something like that. Report HTML. No, it's not that. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, we have here the results. So you see there are vulnerable JS library. There is cookie no HTTP only flag. There is a cross-domain JavaScript source file inclusion. Of course, you need to check it and confirm, but you have some baseline, right? So now, why I want to talk about the feedback loop, because the standard components of the process are, as you see, developer, security tool, and security team, right? So the first thing that you are doing is developer is running security tool. Developer is doing something that like commit or push or merge request is running a security tool. Then it comes to security team, and security team comes to the developer. So as I said, everyone was doing the shift left, and now the tools are reporting findings to developer itself, as you can see here, right? There are some reports, but most of the developers don't care about it, or don't have time to deep dive into those findings. So it will end up still going to the security team. And that's the funny picture that I love, which shows what we are doing, because we are shifting left, doing DevSecOps, adding some more funny stuff to the names, and everyone needs to do something cool. So we are doing DevOps, DevSecOps, DevSecMLOps, and so on and so on. And that's how the industry looks like, unfortunately. And we are missing some part of it, right? So what I mean about feedback loop is if you get the data, gather the data, you have the results, you analyze it, and you act on them. Most of the acting is just reporting the issues to the developers. But what we should do, we should take the data, analyze them, and act on them also on our side. So let me show you the process that that I would like to have, or I think everyone should have. And first, feedback loop is with false positive. That most of the people do, right? So we have a lot of false positives here in the secret scanners, right? So the simple fix for that is I see that most of them are in the static content, which is in Task Manager. So I don't like to see them. I would like to see only the real stuff, or at least some that I'm interested in. So I can do a excluded file, which will be the config, and this will exclude. If you see the workflow, I have here the excluded takes that as an exclusion for the truffle hook to not check those folders, because there are no passwords in them, and there are a lot of high entropy strings because of the commits, because of some images in base 64, and so on and so on. So if I do now act -j SAST, or SAST, it will run for me only the fast part, which should use the truffle hook without those issues. And you see that now we have only passwords, right? So passwords, no false positives. Most of them are real. Great. Okay, so this loop is mostly in all the companies or in all the teams, and that's perfect. But now we have the second one, so the proactive loop. You are doing penetration testing, you are doing security research, you are doing threat modeling. You should update your security tool to have more rules. And what I mean by more rules is more checks, better organized checks, and so on and so on. And the overall process that I would like to propose, or that we are trying to follow in our team, is you have a different parts of the DevSecOps, which is design phase, which is code repository, CI, CD. And then we have this penetration tests, monitoring, and all of those processes that we are doing manually. So when you find something here, you update all of your tools. When you find something here, which is web application firewall, you again update all of your rules. But from penetration tests, you also update your web application firewall because some of the issues can be remediated on the web application firewall. And that doesn't mean you don't report it to the development team. You do, and you should do, because this should be fixed on the code level. But at least for the time of fixing, you have a web application firewall which will secure your application from the malicious content, right? So that is what I mean by feedback loop in DevSecOps, and that's what I would like everyone to consider, or at least think about, if there is any improvement to the process that you can make. And saying that you have DevSecOps because you introduced truffle hog or you introduced some other security scam is not enough. And coming from this, we worked with development teams and we tried to figure out what can be the cooperation program or framework with different development teams. And what I would like to say is that there are a couple of phases in the development process that every team has, which is that there is an initiative, there is grooming of this initiative, there is planning of this initiative to have features implemented. Then there is a development of the features, and then there is testing. Of course, then is deployment, monitoring, and so on, and again, next feature. But just to the testing, where you can be as a security team. So in the grooming part, you can help with the architecture, with all the threat modeling. You can provide the guidelines for the team to have like, secure Kafka deployment or secure Docker deployment, or what is the requirement for AWS configuration. Then in the planning phase, you can review that if this is achieved, how to improve the architecture. And if you see the architecture is good, you are doing sign off, okay, you can go ahead and implement. When the implementation is coming, development teams have a lot of questions, sometimes very security related questions, how to do encryption, how to do something. So you're a consultant, you are helping them. This is for the internal security team, of course, because for external, probably it works pretty different. And then testing is obvious, right? You are doing your security testing, you're signing off, okay, you can go to production. And to not do penetration test every time, you can do a dust, you can do some security configuration checks and compliance checks, and you sign off based on the automation. And you do just penetration test once a year or twice a year. And that's all that I had for you. I think I'm just on time.